Welcome back, my dear students. Today we are going to talk about alternation of generations in bryophytes, or you can say the life cycle, how life cycle of bryophytes gets completed. When we talk of bryophytes, you know that we have two distinct phases in the life cycle. These phases, they are morphologically distinct. The first one, which is the dominant phase in the life cycle of bryophytes, is gametophyte, and second one, which depends on gametophyte, it is known as sporophyte. Gametophyte, it is autotrophic. You already know these terms. It is autotrophic, it is independent, and it is haploid. It has one set of chromosomes. Okay, जो gametophyte होता है, it is autotrophic, haploid, and it produces gametes. Now the gametophyte, how does it originate? ये किस चीज से बनता है? Gametophyte develops from spores which are produced by the sporophyte. आपके पास gametophyte है, ओके, ये तो पहले ऑटोट्रॉपिक है और यू कैन से इंडिपेंडेंट है. It has a single set of chromosomes, it is haploid, and it produces gametes. It produces antheridia, it produces archegonium produces egg, antheridia produces antherozoids. ओके, तो सवाल ये है, ये जो गेमेटोफाइट है ये खुद किस चीज़ से बनता है? इट प्रोड्यूसेस, इट डेवलप्स फ्रॉम स्पोर्स. ये स्पोर्स कहाँ से आते हैं? स्पोरोफाइट बनाता है. सिंपल. नाउ द गेमेट्स, दे रिप्रेजेंट द लास्ट स्टेज इन द लाइफ साइकिल ऑफ गेमेटोफाइट, और यू कैन से द गेमेट्स रिप्रेजेंट द लास्ट स्टेज ऑफ गेमेटोफिटिक फेज. जब गेमेट्स बन जाते हैं, एंथ्रियोजॉइड्स बनते हैं, एग बनते हैं, ओके, दे आर द लास्ट stages of the gametophytic phase. फिर क्या हो जाता है? These gametes, they fuse and they result in the formation of zygote, and this zygote, it is the first stage. It is the first stage. It is the cell that gives rise to sporophyte. Now we are going to discuss the sporophyte. What is sporophyte? Sporophyte, it is having a simple structure. Okay, it is having a simple structure, and it depends on the gametophyte for its nutrition. It depends on gametophyte for its nutrition, and it possesses two sets of chromosomes. It is diploid because it develops from the zygote. Okay, आपके पास gametophyte था, ये gametophyte बनाएगा एंथ्रीडिया, ये बनाएगा आर्चुगोनिया. ओके, तो फिर क्या होगा? जो एंथ्रोजाइड्स है यहाँ पहुँच जाएंगे. वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस दीज थिंग्स. इट विल रिजल्ट इन द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ जाइगोट. नाउ दिस जाइगोट विल डिवाइड एंड फॉर्म द एम्ब्रियो. ओके, this zygote which is diploid, it will divide and form the embryo will later on result in the formation of sporophyte. ठीक है, so जो sporophyte है, it depends on the gametophyte. It is attached to the gametophyte, it depends on the gametophyte, it is a short-lived phase, and it is having two sets of chromosomes. Why? Because it develops from the zygote, which is having 2n chromosome constitution. Now the sporophyte, what is its role? The sporophyte produces spores inside its capsule. The sporogenous tissue of the capsule, it undergoes meiosis and results in the formation of spores which are haploid. These spores, they germinate and form the gametophyte's bag. So you can remember, gametophyte is the dominant phase. It is haploid, it produces gametes, okay, and sporophyte is having a simple structure. It is the short-lived phase. It depends on gametophyte for its nutrition, and most importantly, it is diploid because it develops from zygote. Now this sporophyte, it produces spores which germinate to form the gametophyte's bag. Besides this normal procedure, besides the gametophytes producing gametes and sporophytes producing spores, bryophytes also show apospori and apogamy. What does apospori and apogamy mean? Apospori means Gametophyte develops from vegetative cells of the sporophyte, not from haploid spores. अगर आपके पास यहाँ एक gametophyte है, okay, you have a sporophyte here, sporophyte which depends on this gametophyte. Normally in the capsule meiosis occurs and spores are formed, haploid spores which result in the formation of gametophytes, जो gametophytes बनाते हैं. लेकिन कुछ bryophytes में देखा गया the other cells of the sporophyte, the vegetative cells, okay, the vegetative cells of the sporophyte, they give rise to gametophyte. जो vegetative cells होती हैं sporophyte की, they are diploid, and obviously the gametophyte that results directly from these sporophytic cells, the gametophyte also will be diploid. Okay, the gametophyte does not result from the haploid spores. Instead, it results from the diploid cells of the sporophyte. जो gametophyte बन जाएगा that will be obviously diploid, though it will resemble the normal gametophyte in terms of its morphology, but it will be having two sets of chromosomes. That means it will be diploid, and such gametophytes have been found in case of Anthoceros and some mosses. Now, apogamy means the sporophyte develops from gametophyte without union of gametes. आपके पास gametophyte है, you have a gametophyte here. The normal procedure is it will lead to the formation of sporophytes. Here this is female gametophyte, for example. यहाँ पे archegonium है, यहाँ पे antheridium है. ये antheridium antherozoids बनाएगा. They will move here. They will fuse. One of the antherozoids will fuse with the egg, and it will get converted to zygote. Okay. Now zygote will form embryo, and ultimately the embryo gets converted into the sporophyte. This is the normal way of producing sporophytes. But in some cases, it has been found that the gametophytes, for example, this is a gametophyte, it directly gives rise to sporophyte without union of gametes. Some of the cells of the gametophyte which are haploid, all the cells of the gametophyte are haploid. Some cells, they directly give rise to sporophyte here. They directly give rise to sporophyte without union of gametes. Union of gametes is not there, but the sporophyte formation takes place. Such sporophytes which develop from the cells of the gametophyte without union of gametes, they are known as apogamous sporophytes. Okay, they are known as apogamous sporophytes. And obviously the apogamous sporophytes, they will be having single set of chromosomes, they will be haploid. Such sporophytes have been reported in Funaria hygrometrica, Desmotodon arandi. Now looking at the life cycle, you can see here you have haploid gametophytes. These are the mature haploid gametophytes. They produce the archegonia, which contain eggs, and antheridia, which contain antherozoids. These antherozoids and eggs, they fuse, resulting in the formation of zygote, which is diploid. So up to this point, up to the formation of or you can say up to the gametes, the gametes represent the last stage of the gametophytic phase. Once they fuse, the gametophytic phase ends. जब gametes fuse हो जाते हैं, fertilization हो जाती है, zygote बन जाता है, तो gametophytic phase ends. Now starts the sporophytic phase. The zygote, it divides and forms the embryo. Now the embryo gets converted into the sporophyte, and this is the mature sporophyte having foot, seta, and capsule. Now inside the capsule, the sporogenous tissue, it undergoes meiosis, and after meiosis, spores are formed which are known as meiospores. They are haploid. These haploid meiospores, they germinate and give rise to gametophytes either directly or through the protonema stage. Okay, they give rise to gametophytes back. So in the life cycle, you can see the gametophytic phase, it is a dominant phase, it is a long-lived phase, while as the sporophytic phase, it is the short-lived phase, it is the dependent phase. Okay, so this one represents the gametophytic phase and this one represents the sporophytic phase 2n. So this is all about the alternation of generations in bryophytes. That means first of all you have the gametophytic phase, it produces gametes, gametes fuse, form zygote, zygote divides, forms the embryo, embryo later on develops to form the sporophyte, and sporophyte, it produces the spores by meiosis, and these spores, once they germinate, they give rise to the gametophyte back. Okay, this is how alternation of generations takes place. First comes gametophyte, then comes sporophyte, then comes gametophyte back, and this continues. This is known as alternation of generations. uh, with this we have completed the bryophytes. Now we are left with economic importance and their classification. uh, See you soon with a new lesson. Till then, take care.